And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Post-game, December 23rd, Boston Bruins beat the Washington Capitals 4-1 in a game at TD Garden that I think for the first time this year, well, at least for me, Razor, felt much more playoff style. I know it wasn't a playoff game, but at least it had the energy of one. Some great defense by the Bruins, some incredible timely scoring. Awesome penalty kill, some injuries to talk about. We're going to get to all of it, my friend, in just a moment. But first, we're going to tell you, as always, that Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, proudly presented by Fazenda Coffee Roasters, located right here in Dedham, Massachusetts. Fazenda Coffee is the place to go if you want to be satisfied with your coffee purchase. Trusted partner for cafes, bakeries, and restaurants. With their expertly roasted coffee, they help businesses elevate their menu and offer an unforgettable coffee experience. They also provide amazing coffee for you at home. Check out fazendacoffee.com. And if you want Morning Brew stuff, fazendacoffee.com/Morning Brew, including the Morning Brew hats, the Clean Canteen Travelers, and again, a lot of different coffee. Great stuff. All right, Razor. First of all, before we get into everything, unobstructed views. I don't know how many obstructed view seats there are, by the way, in hockey arenas, but that's another story for another time. Okay. Old school, there used to be, right? The old Boston Garden, there was a ton of obstructed views. Anyways, I kid. Finally, you and the guys get a victory. How sweet did that feel for you?
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure on tonight's game. We were feeling the heat and thought we were going to get canceled. Great game. Just like you just broke it all down. It was you could tell watching on TV that the start of the game had more energy. They were skating better. They looked fast, and that continued all the way through. And that's the third period. We've been used to the Bruins having at the Garden so many nights where they grind it out in the second period. They kill penalty and then they go. And you have to be pretty excited going into the holiday the way the Bruins just played the last 6 weeks of hockey.
Well, and even if you want to even look at it in even a smaller view, they're 4-0-1 in their last 5, right? And this comes after getting thumped the first 2 games of that Northwest road trip that had the potential to at least or make you potentially feel like the sky was falling. And the emotional mood swing, the severe emotional mood swing that is the NHL season is now on the rise again for the Boston Bruins as they, again, go 4-1 in their last 5. They give up 1 goal in each of their last 2 games. They Buffalo. You want to talk about a totally contrasting style game or visual of a game. That Buffalo game that was so sloppy, that was intense, but not. You know what I mean? It wasn't intense.
No,
it didn't have the
awful,
sharpness of it or anything. And yet the Bruins found a way to win. And then they have the day off yesterday and they do this one. I mean, you couldn't have asked for 2 more like volatile different games. What I really want to know though is with your tonight, your telecast had Patrice, but he was from remote. All right. Yeah. But you had Tuukka and you had Ryan Whitney in with you. Were any, I know there's a certain amount of words that you can get away with, but how was, I mean, because Tuukka and Witt are not exactly, they're not afraid to drop a few F-bombs.
No, we were good. We didn't get a dump. We didn't get in trouble. No SEC stuff. Patrice was not embarrassed by those 2 guys in any way whatsoever. We didn't. He didn't get put on the.
He didn't come in tonight.
Yeah, that was part of it. Yeah, I think he didn't want to really get. We grilled Patrice on who he wouldn't want to have Christmas dinner with that throughout the league over his year. He still didn't do that. We still wouldn't go there. So that was the only time he got grilled a little bit, but. Witt behaved himself and Tuuk was professional and we got through it without getting smoked.
I'm sure it was great. I'm sure it was fun. And did they feel the same way as I did, as you did, that this was the Boston Bruins most intense and I would say structured and complete performance?
Yes, especially we taught right out of the gates. It was like, oh, okay, this is a hockey game. And even though the shots were 6-3, we felt like, again, you're sitting on the couch and you're watching. And so it's not the same, right? And if they're all our lulls and it isn't fun, like the last two have been. It's hard to generate stuff to talk about. We're not that creative, the three of us. We see and we talk. So this one went faster. This game went so much faster because even though with the 6-3 shots in the first, there was stuff going on. That was intense. Guys were trying to hit each other. Guys were looking for each other, and they were connecting passes. It was just better hockey. It was just real hockey. It was real NHL hockey. To your point, especially compared to the Buffalo Sabres the other night.
Yeah, the structure of both teams was excellent. The stick work. How many tips and blocks and deflections and those kind of plays that weren't luck, that they were really just good effort plays, good positional plays we saw from both teams. It was, and there was a vibe, and there always is a vibe in the building on this game.
Yeah, it's a big night. It's a fun night.
It's a fun night. You hope these are the games that you hope as a NHL team that you have at home before. Like, you hope you have a home game on the 23rd before the league shuts down for 3 days. You do. Yeah. Everybody's in a good mood. Half the people are dressed up. The other half are, probably enjoying beverages more and more. And you know what I mean? Like, everybody's having a good time. So it's the kind of game that brings out the best. And it's also for the Boston Bruins, let's face it, it's a game against now one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, who, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself here, but the way things are going, I mean, who knows? You never know. It could be a matchup in the first round, given how wild card situations work and everything. You don't know. But regardless, it had the makings of a good matchup, and it sure lived up to the billing. The first period, Razor, as you said, just featured 9 shots on goal, 6 for the Bruins, 3 for the Capitals. And I mean, the Capitals had a power play in the first period too. So it wasn't like, they just got 2 power play shots there, and they only got 1 even strength shot. Pretty damn impressive. It took a power play goal for the Boston Bruins, though, to break the ice at the 19-12 mark. Justin Brazeau got his 7th of the season. Geekie and Lowry with the assists. Lowry with the one initiating with the shot. But this was a classic, simple power play, Razor, that got things going. Nothing fancy, but yet a thing of beauty.
The guys are on that second unit are feeling it a little bit. Geekie's feeling it. Brazeau has continued, 7 goals. So he's looking at 15, 16, 17 on the season. He could chase 20. Mason Lowry is continuing to feel it on the power play. These opportunities he gets, he continues to skate really well. He continues to move the puck very well, continues to be a threat offensively. And yes, they move it around the outside, and they get it to the inside at the last second, and Brazeau's there, and he just bangs it home. It's very simple, but it's been very, very important and crucial for this team this month for the power play, now scoring 5 power play goals in 8 games, and the second unit's a big reason for it.
Yeah, and it's just it should be a lesson. It doesn't always go that way because top units like to maybe use their skill a little bit more.
They don't see the game the same way all the time.
They don't. Exactly. Yeah. They think that it's not that they're saying we're better so we can get away with more. It's just, as you said, how they think it, how they see it, and what they think they know can work, but yet it doesn't always work. That's maybe a too simplified of an explanation. But anyway, Brazeau in front of the net hammers away at it, puts it by Charlie Lindgren to make it a 1-0 game. And again, that was in the last minute of the first period. So, you like going in after 1 and you're like, okay, good stuff. But then it's early in the second period. Vrana, he gets his 7th goal of the season on a power play as well. A nice, simple play by them too, Razor. I mean, Sandin's got the puck. This is pretty much their second unit. Now, there's no Ovechkin right now, but their power play, the Caps' power play, has actually been more efficient or proficient without Ovechkin in the lineup. That doesn't mean they don't miss him. It just means that I think they've looked for more options, and I think that they've simplified it too. Sandin puts a beautiful pass, simple pass right into Vrana's wheelhouse. He hammers it, the lefty from the right side, just inside the dot. There was so much room there, and he absolutely got everything on that one. Swayman got a piece of it with the shoulder, but not enough, and that one tied up the game at 1. I didn't think there was much Swayman could do there. Sometimes you just have to say it's a pretty freaking heavy shot by the opponent.
Yeah, it was a rocket. And Tuke and I were talking about it. It's you get a piece of it, you think that's going to go somewhere else, and somehow it goes still up into the net. So the Bruins sagged too much, like just a little bit. They almost forgot about Verona, and I didn't know he could shoot it the way he did. Like you said, it was an absolute rocket. So you would have loved to save, I guess, but at the same time, you just don't expect it to come on you that quickly. Again, hindsight, you take 3 more inches up. Frederick takes more of a lane to take that away. There's a few ways to do it, but again, it just kind of snuck up on everybody, and he hammered it. It was an NHL shot.
I mean, and he hammered it from at the dot, basically, maybe even
feet.
inside. Yeah, I mean, like that. That's
was
the
low.
thing.
It was low.
Yeah, and he literally strode right. It was able to walk into it. Right, like he gets it, and it's just perfect. I don't know. I talked to Swayman after the game, Vernessen, not a one-on-one interview, but an interview, and he even said, he's like, yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to get it, but
he
even said it's a good shot.
Perfect spot.
Yeah. Right. All right. That's going to happen. So at the end of 2 periods, it's 1-1. Shots in the second, just 4 for the Washington Capitals, 7 for the Bruins. So after 2, it's 13-7. You've kept the Washington Capitals, one of the top offensive teams in the NHL, to just 7 shots on goal through 2 periods. And it wasn't like they were mailing it in or anything. They were bringing it. Now, also in the second period, and we'll get to it in a moment. I just want to go through the game recap quickly. David Pastrnak ends up going off the ice. We're going to get to that. It's just worth mentioning here. But he's off the ice. And why do I mention it there? Because for the third period, he doesn't come back. And so the Bruins get out in the third period, and you're saying, all right, how are they going to do this without David Pastrnak? Oh, well, you know what? This is why they got Oliver Wahlstrom, right? One of the reasons, to help out with that shot and the offense. You hope that he can generate some offense that he hasn't been able to so far this year with the Islanders. That's why he was waived. And say, okay, and here he is, Razor, on the ice to start the third period, and in the spot where he's going to get a chance, right? He's going to play a regular shift. He's going to get a ton of ice time, and he's going to get it with some different players. What happens a couple of seconds in? He takes a boarding major. 10 seconds into the period, to be exact. He hits Martin Fehervary from behind. And while it might not have been vicious, it was in a dangerous spot, and he gets him from behind. Fehervary's head makes contact with the dasher, with the wall, and there is a cut on the nose. And in the rule book, as I paraphrase it, any injury to the head or face, meaning blood, that is after a penalty is declared a major automatically. The officials got it right. They absolutely got it right. And Wahlstrom goes off. At that moment, not only a 5-minute major, it's also a game misconduct. What are you thinking, Razor, at that moment? Now you're down not just Pastrnak, but your other right winger or another right winger in Oliver Wahlstrom 10 seconds into the third. Are you thinking this is going to be a classic great Bruins third period? I'm not being negative. I wasn't thinking it was going to be bad. I was just thinking, holy shit, this is going to be tough now. I was wrong. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I thought they were in one. We all thought it was a terrible call. I didn't think that it would ever be made. Like I didn't even think it was like Fehervary kind of pushed back and looked for a reverse hit and kind of toe picked more than was the analysis from the studio. Surprised, shocked it was a major. Thought it might just be a penalty, but
when there's blood, when they derive from it's in the book from a major, from a penalty, blood to the head, it's an automatic major. And even the official even said that. At first, I agree with you. I didn't think it would be a major. I thought they'd bring it back, but then I saw the cut, and I'm like, yeah, it is. Like it or not, it is.
Yeah, the visor helped. So yeah, they were in tough there for sure.
Yeah. All right, but then they're in tough, but the way that they played looked anything. Well, they played tough, but it didn't sure look like they felt it at all. I mean, good third period, some chances up and down, but it gets 13:41 mark. It ends up being Elias Lindholm from Brad Marchand and Coyle. Coyle does a gorgeous job coming back on the back check, puts the puck out, and then they get going. And Marchand's pass over to Lindholm from the left to the right side. Lindholm gives a little bit of a fake. He kind of moves the hand, drops the shoulder, and then gets Lindholm, who is, I beg your pardon, Lindbergh, the goaltender. I'm messing up my Lindy's here. He's a catch with the left hand. he drops his shoulder, he being Elias Lindholm, and then he gets the goaltender. He commits there, Razor, right? And then he just brings it to his backhand. The puck almost bounced on him as well. It's bouncing all over. But even he said postgame, I was kind of lucky to get it in. But it was fun. It was good. It was a gorgeous play from start to finish as he put it in on his backhand.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. And Lindgren was so far behind because Brad just froze him enough
Did I
with
call him
that shot.
Lindbergh? Did I call him Lindbergh? It's Lindgren. Did I call him Lindbergh?
I
I'm
don't know. Did
getting
I say Lindbergh? I
no,
don't
no.
know.
You said it right. I said it
Oh,
wrong.
oh, I
Sorry.
didn't.
Anyways, go ahead.
I would have. You said I heard you, Lind. You were good. Marshy pump fakes or doesn't even pump fake. Just hands go just a certain little way that both gets the defenseman to go, which as soon as it goes, he gets through the triangle of the defenseman, and it just holds the goalie just enough that he has to over exaggerate. And then Lindholm recognizes the over exaggeration. That's where he can really pump fake the goalie, uses his hands. And yeah, it could have jumped over his stick. It really, really could have jumped over his stick. It was a lot closer than it needed to be. But a huge goal at a huge time for both of those players, especially Lindholm. Now we're, a few more games. Now we're not talking about anything. We're, right. You get another 10 games the way he's going now. You don't talk about the start and you just talk about the way he's playing. So he's got to feel great going into this break. It probably is better than as good as anyone on this Bruins team. And that's a big one to get the game winner going into it. You could see how that was as charged up as he was. You talked about the playoff type feel and the energy in the room, in the building. Lindholm, his goals have been relief. This one was excitement.
Yeah, there was euphoria with this one. There was a huge smile on his face.
This one was awesome. This wasn't just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, and there was some chirping going on the ice throughout the game. I was doing ringside tonight. There was a lot of chirping, and at one point, I saw Mangiapane, I thought chirping Lindholm, and I'm thinking, well, they're old teammates, right? Like they're all from Calgary. Now, it could be nothing, it could be something, but there was a lot of stuff going on the ice that you might not have recognized if you're just watching it casually from home. I know you guys weren't watching it casually from the couch, so I'm sure you saw it too. But I could see also a pissed off Lindholm in this game as well, which we haven't always seen, which said to me that this was a more intense game too.
Captain caught that one. 37. Bergie caught that one. We're knuckleheads on the Cali. I wasn't paying attention at all, but Bergie's like, oh yeah, he's chirping everyone on the bench, and then sure enough, at the end of the game, a couple cross checks and a dust up, and we're like, oh, okay, that's all kind of tying in together. So Bergie doesn't miss anything, of course, but I think the Bruins, it was a lot of teams have come into the building as a measuring stick against the Bruins. This was kind of one of those, the first time for the Bruins this season where they were actually measuring themselves up and saying, okay, we're getting there. The belief and the confidence that Brad talked about a week ago, it kind of came into play tonight.
So that was Lindholm's sixth goal of the season at 13:41. Go forward about another 2 minutes, 15:59 to be exact. Charlie Coyle's going to get his ninth. Marchand with the assist. The assist was really his shot that went off the post and then perfectly ends up not laying there, but Coyle comes in, swoops in, and puts it in. McAvoy with the assist too, but Marchand with a gorgeous, he gets it coming in on that side, and then it clanks off. What was it the right post? It was. He takes a shot from the left side. Coyle comes in and puts it in on the backhand. So 15 into the empty net, I should say. 15:59 makes it 3-1. And then Caps pull their goaltender, Lindgren out. They're going to do it. Boston Bruins at 18:38. Captain Brad Marchand gets his 15th goal. This one an unassisted one, and the empty netter. Marchand with a goal and 2 assists in the third period. Coyle with 1 and 1 in the third period. The Bruins got their transition game going in the third. It wasn't like they were holding on for dear life at all. They outshoot them 9-4 in the third. It was another exemplary period of structured discipline, dedication to what they needed to do. And then the big guys, Razor, come through for them with 3 goals in the third.
Really nice to see that line that contribute offensively. So much has been made about Coyle's still doing the right thing, 200-foot game, not getting goals, not shooting the puck as much, but doing the great things, 200. The Lindholm, the same idea, and having that pay off with the two of them together, and great job by the coaching staff to recognize those three and try and get those three going. I think they haven't played together a lot this season, so the fact that they get linked up and they have a great week together, you have to give the coaches a lot of credit for that, to recognize that. And it worked. It worked, and they looked good, and they looked motivated.
Oh, speaking of motivated, how about the penalty kill, the 5-minute major that they kill off? So I went through the game there, but what I left out a couple of things on purpose so we can go back and talk about it. So you get the Wahlstrom major, and you're thinking, oh shit, like you're going up against, again, one of the best teams and best power plays in the league. It's not off the charts good power play. It's good though. It is. It's excellent. John Carlson's been scoring a lot. Chikrin's been scoring a lot on the power play. They have different looks, right? Okay. But the Bruins PK, that 5-on-4 for 5 minutes, gave up what? Was it one shot in the end? Right near the end, I think they got one shot on goal in that power play. Just tremendous. The rotation. I thought Joe Sacco in his post-gamer, nailed it as well. He said, kept the shifts short on the PK. The rotations were great. Everybody was fresh. That means everybody's constantly involved. You get numerous guys involved, and then you can keep, it's not just 2 pairs. You get 3 pairs going, and everybody stays fresh. You keep the guys that you want out there more. I thought just tremendous teamwork on that 5-on-4.
It was, and if you're watching, you can see me start to smile, and because I didn't hear Sacco say that after the game, but I asked that question to, of course, the best penalty killer of all time. I said, so what changes in a 5-minute power? Like, does your mentality change? What do you guys? He's like, you have to be shorter. You're just so much shorter. And then, so of course he's right again. The fucking guy, he's perfect, right? Like, it's just so that's it. And they were, and they were, they were shorter. They were crisper. Brad stretches. They did a great job interchanging on the changes. One guy stretches, he changes. They were energetic, and they kind of lulled Washington a little bit too, right? They allowed them to move it around, and you can do that. We talked a lot about the Bruins power play getting lulled sometimes, where they move it around a bunch on the outside, but there's nothing interior. They don't try and get it to the net. They did that to Washington as well, where everyone kind of got lulled in, and all of a sudden there was only a minute left on the major. You didn't even recognize it, and it was a huge turning point. It's got to be a huge boost, not just to the players too, but to Joe Sacco, to the coaching staff, who feel like they've been so close and haven't had those special team numbers that do reflect on coaching to have a big special team game tonight.
Let me give you a couple numbers of time shorthanded in this game. I think it's important to recognize these guys, given the body of work that they did. Andrew Peeke played 426 shorthanded. Not bad. Elias Lindholm, 342. Charlie McAvoy, 341. Nikita Zadorov, 409. Zadorov really had a good game, despite the fact that he had 2 prime chances that both went over the net. I'm gonna give him the pass on those. He was there. He was in the right spot. He shot him over that. Lohrei had 1 too in the first period that, missed the net, didn't make contact. But I thought Zadorov actually, I personally thought he played a very good game, Razor. And then, all right, a couple of other time on ice numbers. Carlo, 335. I think I told you, Elias Lindholm, 342. Pavel Zacha, 331. I mean, your main guys out there doing the main job. Brad, just 3 seconds under 3 minutes on the shorthanded situation. So they did a wonderful job. I mean, Brad played 21 minutes. Marchand played 21 minutes in this game. Obviously, with Pastrnak and Wahlstrom out, other guys are going to get more ice time. Brad usually gets his 18 to 20 minutes, but they were playing him, knowing that they've got 3 days off, looking at and watching him and looking how good, seeing how good he looks. His edge work is better. His power acceleration is better. He said yesterday, Razor, he's not going to feel 100%, until a full year after all these 3 surgeries he had in the offseason. But in my eyes, and I think your eyes and his eyes too, he's so much better than when the season began. And maybe he's not 100% better, but he sure looks like he's getting close to it.
He is, and again, we jump on guys like you just do. It's the season, and you look at October and you need a good start, and but we knew he had 3 surgeries. You knew he was going to have a hard time. It just you can't flip this game on and off the way you'd like to think, as great as he is, and we're starting to see now that he's just the puck's settling better. He's feeling confident. It feels like he can get to a spot with his body, um, and he might be rope-a-dope in the 100% a little bit. I expect him to think that he's 100% for this Four Nations. This is a big deal for him. He hasn't played with these guys before, and I think Team Canada is a big deal for him, and I think it is in a couple of years as well. So I think he's ramping his game, and we're seeing the fruits of that right now.
Yeah, it's been awesome to watch. You had 10-game point streak. 10-game point streak for 36 years old. Not too bad. Remember, and everybody's worried that he wasn't going to score. Yeah,
exactly.
All right, let's take a moment to recognize our sponsors that help make this show possible. Graciano Construction is one of them. We are so proud to be associated with Graciano Construction. They serve Boston and the greater Metro West area, and even a little further than that if need be. They are the contractor who will help you refresh and revitalize your space. You got to call Doug Graciano or email him, gracianoconstruction.com, or call 508-330-7589. You want to talk to these guys because they will help you make a difference of what the project you want to do. No project's too big or too small. Give Doug Graciano and his crew an opportunity to show you what they can do, and they will help make home projects less stressful and even very enjoyable. That's right. gracianoconstruction.com or 508-330-7589. Now, if you already have a place that you're thrilled with, but now you're looking to either buy it, sell it, or lease a new place in Mass, Rhode Island, or New Hampshire, you got to go to RTN Realty. Go to them for all your real estate needs. Chris Gentile and a staff of 16 agents and support staff have you covered for whatever you're looking to do. They handle all types of real estate transactions. Chris has over 22 years experience, Razor, and he has over 2,500 transactions to his credit in his career. Reach out to Chris at cgentile@rtnrealty.com or call him directly at 617-835-0845, and you'll get a no-pressure consultation. Razor, believe it or not, we're at the end of December, so if you're starting to think about moving, right, at April, especially leasing, right?
Get
April,
the house ready. Everything's
get the house
gotta
ready.
go
It's
now.
not too,
Gotta
call
go
Chris.
now.
Reach out to him. Chris Gentile, cgentile@rtnrealty.com. All right, lastly, Apex, the most entertaining moment of the game. I'll let you pick this one. What were you most entertained with the guys doing your show back at Nesson?
Lindholm's goal. Elias Lindholm's goal was fantastic. The Charlie Coyle goal was great. You see that develop as well, but the game winner was a big one. That was awesome. Both the Lindholm, we talked about the celebration, the passion, the excitement, the great pass from Marchand, and coming off of the kill. So that I think it was pretty easy tonight. That was a big one, and I'm sure the Garden was awesome.
Oh, the Garden was thumping on that one, right? They were waiting, right? I would say the most inspirational moment, I know that's not part of the sponsorship, but was the 5-minute major kill. I mean, that was inspiring. That was, the place started the crescendo of the crowd built as they killed that one. That was great. But definitely the most entertaining was the play, the breakout, the work by Coyle, the back check, the strip of the puck, the get it out to the neutral zone, the Marchand then pass over to Elias Lindholm. Absolutely. 100,000 square feet of pure fun. ApexEntertainment.com. What wasn't fun, Razor, trying to make a segue transition, was watching David Pastrnak have to leave the ice. What about the 8.5-minute mark? Is that right in the second period? He gets bumped in the neutral zone. It is not significant contact. And you can almost see him hesitate going into the bump, and then he kind of, I'm moving if you're watching here on the YouTube. If you're not, I don't know why I'm moving, because if you're listening on audio, kind of almost looks like he makes a motion to his right side. I don't know, hip, I don't know, back, regardless. You could tell something right there was up. And then he kind of skates off gingerly and talks to the trainer and goes off, tries to come back. I don't even know how long that shift was. I don't have the shift report in front of me. But then he left and he doesn't come back, as we already said, for the third period. Brad Marchand post-game joked about him. He was asked about, and I'm paraphrasing, how David Pastrnak looked afterwards, and he said, "Oh, he looked great. That was in the shower, though. He looked horrendous. Do you want me to go further?" And it's like, so he's laughing about it. I talked to Brad. I did the live post-game with him, or the post-game interview with him on Nesson, and I didn't ask him directly about David, how he was doing, but I just asked about dealing with that, and he was just like, hopefully some days off, it'll be good. It'll be fine. But it's obviously a concern because it didn't look like anything. That doesn't mean it wasn't something that happened that we didn't pick up on. He could have taken a stride somewhere, hit a rut, and you know what I mean? You never know. He could have hit the boards funny somewhere. Did you guys pick up on anything, anything more than that I just described?
Yeah, we had nothing. We didn't, we saw the highlight of him after the break and kind of grimacing and moving around, but we had nothing. So yeah, hopefully the timing's great. If it's a 5-day injury, the timing's perfect. You'll get us 3 days and come back, but that'll be the story on the 26th or 27th of where his body is. But at this point, it could be lots of things.
Right. Talk to me about the third line. Talk to me about what, and again, you didn't have a full game, but you've had 2 games, so to speak, now of looking at Frederick in the middle, Wahlstrom on one side, Brazeau on the other. So you got 2 righties in Wahlstrom, Brazeau playing his offside, and then Frederick in the middle. Joe Sacco said this morning, we only had 1 game. We want to give it another look. We're intrigued by it, or, we're interested. Meaning, I look at those top lines. I think Coyle with Lindholm and Marchand right now makes a ton of sense. We also talked a few games ago, though, how the centers look good with Coyle as the third line center, but they need him up with those guys right now. They just do. Then with a healthy David Pastrnak, your second, we'll call it a second line, doesn't matter, one of your top 2 lines, it seems pretty good too. Okay, Geeky has found his stride. He's gotten going again. All right, we seem pretty good there. The fourth line, Mark Kastelik, Kepke, Beecher. Again, Beecher blocking shots, using it. He's been all right there, right? He's been good. Those guys are all set. That third line, where are you at? I know, again, it's just barely 1.5 games because they haven't get a lot of time together tonight. But where are you at with what you've seen?
Yeah, they're fine. Again, Freddie's struggling. Freddie's just grinding. So you have him in the middle. It's even harder there's just a lot more for him to do. So he isn't playing with a ton of confidence, and you hope that maybe the center position allows him to do that. I have no problems with Brazeau in any way whatsoever. He is steady Eddie.
He's doing his job.
He's in front of his net. He makes plays. He is what we're seeing. He's a 20-goal guy pretty consistently with doing, just being him. Wahlstrom, I think it's unfortunate for him to get knocked out of tonight's game. I thought he had a good chance on the power play with it. He's not there. He's in between a lot, whether he's a scorer or whether he's a defender. He's got a lot to grow, but initially this break's going to be big for him. He can go get his clothes. He can go get his jackets. He can go get his car. He's had a whirlwind of 10 days. So you got to give him 3 more weeks. Cause again, all of his stuff's in Long Island. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have he needs new shoes, all of this stuff. So I think his 10 games.
Go back home.
Really
you never
good.
know what he's got in the closet up in Maine, though. You never know.
Well,
He could.
No, but I'm sure. Yeah, exactly. He's going. Someone's getting his car, and it's going to get he's going to get to life. So, but so again, I think it's fine. It's completely fine because the top 2 lines now are really good. But it's if you want to look into the future, then you're wondering how
is that Matt Poitras's spot, though, that third line center spot? I mean, is that are you still not ready to bring him up?
No,
let him continue to shine down in the American League.
Yeah, I think I'd still defensively, the way I think about, I'd still take Frederick over him. Just body size and the way he plays, and I'm happy to have Patra play and score 40 goals in the minors the rest of the year. I don't know.
Yeah, because we had a couple questions that I put out a social post and some people asked about that, so I wanted to get to that. Let's just take a few questions, then we'll wrap up this morning brew with Jaffe and Razor, just to fly through because I said I would. The most important one, this one comes. I got to get it. NHL Kyle. Okay, he wants to know what a Christmas dinner looks like for you guys, and he also asked about Patra too, but I'm more interested in the Christmas dinner. Do you know what you're having? Are you in tune with the menu? That's what I want to know.
100%. I was at the
Okay.
grocery store this afternoon getting the goods
Oh,
for the
this is
menu.
interesting. This is a good thing to bring up real quick because we went out and talked about it with our wives. Who shops better?
Oh yeah, it's
Right?
me. Yeah.
Right.
And it's
Same thing
me.
with me too.
Yeah. So no, there was no question. I actually did it today reluctantly. My dad's here. He loves going to the grocery store, so
I
that's
heard
always
that's
it's a
another thing I heard
thing.
when we had dinner. He
So I
likes going
kind of
all the
wanted to
time.
I wanted to go tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., but he doesn't like to get up early, so he needed to come. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster because it's 12:30 on the 23rd, and there's going to be 500 million people. We got there and it was okay. So my mood lightened very quickly. We actually had a good time at the grocery store. We didn't wait in line very long. So we have tenderloin for dinner the meat, the protein. We're going tenderloin.
This is Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
Christmas Day. Christmas Day. Aaron's family will be here. Tomorrow nights, we're going to friends. It's just kind of bounce around the neighborhood. No real menu. Usually, if we had it here, it would be like Chinese food.
Right.
We do like Chinese food on Christmas Eve, but I don't know if we'll get to that tomorrow. And then typical sides: potatoes, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes, Brussels sprouts. No kind of appetizer and tenderloin. That's the meal, Ben. Yeah.
I think we have. I don't know what we're doing.
Have you shopped yet?
I'm not shopping. I'm going away. I'm going.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to the island. So my
So
mother-in-law.
have they shopped?
Oh yeah, she takes care of it all. She's
Yeah.
the absolute best. And she thing is, she gets all the groceries, and then she says, "Okay, this is what you're making." She just gives it to me, which
Right
is
out of the
fine. They
car
put me to
tomorrow.
work. I go down there and I enjoy that. I think tomorrow night it might be order out Italian or order in. I don't know. I don't remember. But Christmas Day is going to be a tenderloin. I got to decide what I'm going to do with it. I might roast it, sear it, and then put it in the oven, roast it. I love doing it with a couple of herbs on it and do that. And then I don't know what the sides, but the sides will be that. That's what our holiday table is going to look like. All right, just a couple more here. Juan Nico, if that's the name, sorry. Was tonight's game a blueprint win for the Bruins' success the rest of the year? Shut down most of the offense from the other team and cash when you get scoring chances of your own. It feels like if Lindholm can keep this going, that it's achievable. Was this a blueprint, Razor, for this team's success, do you think, this type of game?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think since Sacco took over, I think that's a blueprint. I think they haven't made many mistakes. They haven't kicked them. They haven't. The regular season in the NHL is all about not beating yourself. It really is. The blueprint in the playoffs changes a little bit, I think, and that's a whole nother story. But I think we have gotten to the point where the Bruins have gotten back to not beating themselves. And I thought that we both think they were. I will speak for you because I know you think that they were doing that at the start of the year, and that was uncharacteristic. They've gotten back to characteristically not beating themselves and hanging in games.
What is it? 11-4-1 now under Joe Sacco? Yeah, 11-4-1.
That'll get you to the playoffs, and then we'll talk.
Right. All right. Last one. Canadian Bruins fan. This is from Ben. Great to see continued small improvements in the overall game from the back end to the forwards. Still need a little more scoring. Do you think Korpisalo will ultimately be used as a trade chip if the Bees search for scoring help, or do you think Sway and Corpy will be the tandem for the rest of the year? I had a nice chat with Jonas this afternoon after morning skate. He's so mellow. He's so simple, matter of fact, but yet personable about it. It's warm. He's got a warmness about him that is wonderful. very happy to be here. I can tell you, loves Boston. I asked him about, your first Christmas, your holiday here, and it kind of feels like Europe, because no. This is by far the most European it feels. It's awesome like that. He has family in too, so he's thrilled for that. Mother-in-law, father-in-law in now. He's very happy about that. So Jonas Korpisalo has really showed himself beautifully on the ice and is having a good time off the ice. Your thoughts? I don't see it, Razor, as, I don't know. I mean, they got to be blown away by a trade, I think, for him, because it's not like Swayman's not going to need some days off. I mean, and you're going to need something reliable. And I don't think they have that right now in the American League, in a reliable backup.
No. They don't. To your point, they'd have to be blown away. It would have to, of course, he's not untradeable, but
right.
It would have to be the perfect trade, the perfect setup, and you'd have to be able to be getting a veteran guy back in return. Someone would have to blow your socks off. So no, March is going to be too important to this team. April is going to be too important. They're not running away with it. He's going to have to play 6. He's going to have to get 12 points in March somewhere or another. So I don't see that happening. It possibly could happen if he continues to have a great season and he's really valued at the draft. Then that's a whole nother thing, way different. But at this point, good teams don't mess with their goaltending. They just don't. We saw, they just don't mess with their goaltending throughout the regular season, and I think the Bruins are those guys.
Yeah. If they're going to make a run to the playoffs, like you say, he's going to need to play some games. But then if you do get in the playoffs and you've done, God forbid, something happens to your starter,
you need a guy.
You need a guy, a legit guy. Yeah. All right. Anything else that we need to get to that I perhaps missed or anything like that?
No, it was a good one.
Nothing.
Good 3 weeks.
All right. Good. Listen, they come back from that road trip that was tough. They did not have a pretty game against Buffalo. I didn't even want to talk about that game. We didn't, therefore, but they found a way to win, and that's all you really can do in that game.
Yeah.
Find a way to win, and they did. They took yesterday off. They had the family skate, a highly optional skate before it. Nobody really went out, but they then took that day off, get some rest, and then you could just tell heading into this Washington game, they had a focused, concerted effort that they weren't going to take this game lightly. Good for them. They skate to a victory. They're now 4-1 in their last 8 games. Last 5 games. It looks good. It does. It looks a heck of a lot better, and therefore it should feel good, and it does. So the Boston Bruins win, and they head into the 3-day break. They will come back and play back-to-back games against the same team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. The 27th is on the road, the 28th at home. What are we doing? We're doing a show on the 27th, right? Is that what we decided?
Yeah, 27th. I got to cook back to Canada on the 28th. So
right. Okay. So the 27th, we'll do another morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. In the meantime, we're going to take a couple of days off, enjoy time with our families. Ryan, RC, thank you for everything. A wonderful,
huge thanks, RC.
Merry Christmas to you, to RC to you and your family. Thank you for everything, bud. Everybody's celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah. Hanukkah's the same time as Christmas. Enjoy it. Enjoy time with family, with friends, and take a little time for yourself too. God knows I need to do that and relax a little bit. In the meantime, also, you know what? Have yourself an extra cup of coffee, because the Bruins won again, and they're looking pretty good. Enjoy it, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. We'll talk to you the 27th.